All right. Welcome, everybody. Sammy Jo Smith here with Wcra. Thank you for joining us for our WRWC Wednesday Live. Today, we are honored to be joined by the Wcra Stampede at the E Breakaway Roping Champion, Chelsey Abernathy, and finalist, Sawyer Gilbert. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
Today, we thought we'd take the opportunity to talk to these stars in Breakaway and hear from them what their experience was like competing at a WCRA event and see maybe what advice they have for all of you ladies out there gearing up to compete at the Women's Rodeo World Championship. So before we get started really diving into all of that, for any of those, or for those of you that are new here, we thought we'd just review really quick the format and details around the Women's Rodeo World Championship. So I'm going to bring up our slide here. And the Women's Rodeo World Championship is November 3rd through the 7th in Las Vegas at the South Point Arena. The format of the event is firstly the main event, which is really what everybody is trying to get into. It's for the barrel racing, breakaway roping, and heading and heeling. For the main event, it will start on Friday, November 6th. Round one will consist of 24 athletes per discipline. And from that round, we'll take the top 12 fastest times into the second round, which will be on Saturday, November 7th. And then from that round, the top 6 on the 2-run aggregate will advance to the championship round. And that will be a 1-run clean slate. And that is where we will crown our Women's Rodeo World Champions in all 4 disciplines. It's equal money. We're guaranteeing $750,000, which is amazing. Equal money across all 4 disciplines. And then we're also awarding a $20,000 all-around bonus. So I don't know, Sawyer, you were mentioning earlier, maybe the team roping could be for you too. And that all-around is pretty exciting, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the main event. To try to get to the main event, let me skip over to our next slide. In the team roping and breakaway roping, really there's 2 main paths to get into that main event. The first path is by getting in through the WCRA leaderboard. Nominations have been open since May 18th, and you can nominate up until October 11th. By nominating and being on the leaderboard as of October 11th, number 1 through 4 on the leaderboard go directly into the main event in each discipline. Then, for anybody participating at our Nominate, Win, You're In events, if you go, you nominate, you win, you become a fast track qualifier. So that furthest lane right there, the fast track up to 16 athletes, that's like a bonus round. It'll happen first. There'll be 2 runs. In the barrel racing, it'll be 1 run, but in the roping, it'll be 2. And from the top 4 on the 2-run aggregate also go right into the main event. Then any non-winners from that round will meet up with number 5 through 64 in the leaderboard, and they will compete in 2 runs. The top 4 fastest times from round 1 will advance to the Elite 18 round, the top 4 fastest times from round 2, and then the top 10 from the aggregate advance to that Elite 18. There'll then be a 1-run, and the top 6 from the 3-run aggregate advance into the main event. And that's, it's actually a clean slate there. So that's the leaderboard side. I know Chelsey, Sawyer, we'll talk about kind of your experiences nominating. But again, for those that are out there nominating, you can earn points up till October 11th to try to get in and earn a spot into the main event. Then on the other side is the Open to the World path. Here, entries have now been open since July 27th. As of this past Monday, we're now in the midterm entries, which is $625. And anybody in all 4 disciplines can enter. That also includes people that are on the leaderboard side. You can have 1 entry on the WCRA leaderboard side and up to 2 entries on the open side. The format is pretty similar. There'll be 2 runs in that first qualifier round, and then the top 4 from round 1, top 4 from round 2, and 10 from the 2-head aggregate advance into that progressive round. They'll compete in the 10 top 10 fastest times, get into the main event. So the last part that I just want to mention really quickly is in that open to the world qualifying round, we are also going to have challenger pools and pro pools. This is kind of a tiering system where athletes that maybe in the breakaway roping, let's talk about that. If your earnings in 2019 are below $7,000 and in 2018 and 19 below $12,000, you're considered a challenger. And all challengers will compete against each other in that qualifying round. Then for the pros that are above that earning in those years, they'll compete against each other and advance separately into that progressive round where then everybody will meet up and compete. So for those of you that are, excited to come to this event, but maybe a little nervous, you're like, oh, I'm not at the level of competing against the pros. Keep that challenger pool in mind. It's a great way to kind of get warmed up at our event, compete against those that rope like you, and then advance on to the next rounds. So I'll pause there. Chelsey, Sawyer, any reactions or questions just about this format?
Sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity that they get to, like the WCRA is taking in fact that, like some girls that are going to win in the future, maybe aren't up to the caliber or don't want to rope that many. It's great that you give that many ways to get to the championship round.
For sure. Have either of you validated whether you're a challenger or pro? Probably after this past event, it's changed now.
Yeah.
So something that we'll have to look into for both of you. And then lastly, I just wanted to bring up the payout for this main event. So let me go ahead and share this screen. So for the main event here, in all 4 disciplines across the board, first place is guaranteed $60,000. Second place, $20,000, third, $12,500, fourth, $10,000, fifth, $7,500, and sixth, $5,000. Reactions, ladies, on the payout? Is that maybe the biggest payout you guys have tried to go for?
Oh, for sure. I was pumped up about 12.5, but I'd be real pumped up about 60,000.
Right? Where?
Yes. That's a career-changing, life-changing amount of money right there sitting in front of me. That would change a lot of things in a lot of people's lives.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, excited to see you both out there trying for it. So we'll take that down. Now, what I'm going to do is, Chelsey, we're going to put you back in the green screen, and we're going to take a minute and just talk to Sawyer about your time at the Stampede at the E. So here we go. Sawyer, I think to get us started, I'm going to show your run in the long round, which got you into the the championship round. So let's pull this up. Pull this back. All right, here we go.
A 2-time South Dakota High School state champion, Miss Sawyer Gilbert. Go ahead. Wide open field. The paint bear's up. Ohio silver. We get a tie. Nonetheless, 2.25. 2.25. Clean to the field. Clean to the bars. Watch back on this replay. Yeah, about 3 loops, and she zeroed in. And
talk about your horse there. How are you feeling in that moment?
Oh, in that moment, right before I rode in the box, JJ was standing there, and my paint horse was like freaking out, prancing, about to tear the world apart. And she was just like, "Your horse is nuts." I'm like, "I know, right? This is ridiculous." No, it was actually, he does that all the time. It was nothing that he hasn't done a million times before that.
Nothing that phased you there, huh? Yeah. So Sawyer, for those that this is their first time meeting you, tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? Where are you from? How'd you get started in rodeo?
Okay. I'm 18 years old. And I am originally from Buffalo, South Dakota, but starting here the 24th, I'm going to live in Weatherford and go to school in Weatherford College.
Nice. And oh yeah, keep going.
You're good. Whatever.
No, so how'd you get started rodeoing?
I started at a really young age. My dad was involved in rodeo when he was growing up, and he was in the PRCA for about 5 years as a steer wrestler. And I come from a very Western family. My family I'm the 6th generation on our family ranch in Buffalo. So it's been a part of my life in my entire life. So
awesome. And what are some of the biggest events you've competed at?
The biggest one is the Rope for the Crown last year in Vegas, Jackie Crawford's and Chris Neal's, and then the American 2 years ago. Were some of the biggest that I got to compete at. Awesome.
And then is the Stampede at the E the furthest you've gotten at those events?
No, it was. That sounds bad, but it's not. Last year at the Rope for the Crown, I won the Rope for the Crown last year, and third the year before that. And then I won the long round in the American 2 years ago. So it's definitely, I don't want to say that I expect to win, but it's definitely not an extreme when I make it all the way far. I expect that much out of myself.
Well, and you were 2-time South Dakota high school state champ. You definitely going to these big events. You probably thrive off of it, huh?
Yes. Me and my dad always have a saying that, especially like in the short round or like the final round, this is what we're made to, this is what it leads up to. This is what we're made for.
Absolutely. So talk to me too now about how did you first get involved with Wcra and learn about it? Was it at the Rope for the Crown?
It actually was the very first event that I ever nominated. Was at like an hour before the Rope for the Crown started last year. There was somebody over there actually that worked for the Wcra that my dad had known when he was rodeoing, and he got to talking about it and wondering if we had nominated. It was just like, nominated what? Like what is this that you're talking about? And he hurried around and got us set up, explained to my mom as I'm trying to like finish warming up my horse right before the roping starts, explaining to my mom and dad like what the nomination is and what it's going to lead to. And then, like coming from that and then winning it was actually enough to get into the top 64 in the leaderboard for that division or whatever, before it got canceled. So it was one of those, first time you nominate it, you're in the leaderboard, you get to go to your first segment.
Right. No, JD, who normally is hosting these Facebook Lives, I think he was the one that was there, and he commented here on Facebook, watch Sawyer win at Rope for the Crown.
Yeah.
So I remember that too. He was so excited for you. And so, yeah, you mentioned this at Stampede at the E. Your points, I think, that you earned from Rope for the Crown were a part of your leaderboard standings for Stampede at the E. And so you were 12th on the Breakaway standings with 350.25 points. Do you remember what other events maybe you nominated?
Like there was lots of I think I ended up nominating like 10 or 11 just rodeos during the segment or whatever, just whether it be just like amateur rodeos that like are an hour away from my house. There was a couple Division I ropings that we went to that added like whatever $5,000. That was enough to get counted as a Division I. But it was like all the pro rodeos over the 4th of July I nominated, and so it was mostly, we didn't make an exception to go for the nomination points in Wcra. It was just us rodeo around nominating them that got us enough points.
Right. Yeah, so exciting. I do remember that now, and I just gotta say that it's fun to see people out there excelling, and we appreciate you nominating and participating. And so once you got to the event, so for Stampede at the E, you roped in both the leaderboard and the open pool. Talk a little bit about what that experience was like.
After I knew what was going on, it was awesome. I think it's one of those, especially when you get to like that level, there's so many different pools, and there's so many different people, and then so you have like a brief moment where you're just like, which one am I actually doing? No, I was actually, it was one of those, you don't want to screw up. You don't expect yourself to screw up, but like stuff happens. Like, you're known to screw up. So that's why we nominated, or that's why we entered the open pool, is just because we were going to be there, and we were going to watch it anyway. You might as well be entered in case, something was to happen. And so it was definitely nice that I got to rope 2 calves before it even mattered, kind of, like in a way. So it was awesome to get, for my horse, especially, to warm myself up, get a feel of the calves before it even started. Yeah.
And so with the Women's Rodeo World Championship, you'll have that same opportunity, right, to be on the leaderboard side and enter the open. Do you plan to do that going into this event?
I think so. Because of my scheduling, I'm sure I'm going to be there. And a lot of it depends, where that comes into, especially hauling them all the way to Vegas. It comes into a fact that if your horse, like for mine, if he needs it, but I'm almost sure that I'll enter it.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And then we talked a little bit about the challenger versus the open. And I'm just curious, I think your point is so valid that on that open side, it's just another number one opportunity to get into the main event, right? Mm-hmm. But then 2, a warm up. And now with separating kind of the field from the challengers to the pros, it's likely based on your earnings of Rope for the Crown. And then at our events, you're going to be in that pro pool, but it's those at your level, and then to a smaller field. Right. And so, I guess what are your thoughts on us separating the field like that?
I think it's great, just because looking at a lot of other girls, who rope just as good as the pros, but maybe, that are 16 years old, that just haven't done it for 12 years. I think that's great that, especially in the breakaway roping, where there's a 12-year-old that ropes just as good as, the adult, who's been doing it her whole career. And so I think that's a really cool point, especially for the breakaway roping and for the women's world, that they get to do that, that they get to have both sides of that. So
yeah. And so for anybody that is new here, Sawyer, that doesn't understand how you get involved in WCRA, I think we get a lot of questions of what are the membership fees, or do I have to pay an annual fee? Talk a little bit of what you've learned of what does it take to get involved in WCRA.
Call JD, he'll explain it all. That's what he did for
That's so true. And I'll pull up on the banner right here. Anybody can call our team, 833-368-3787, or email our team at support. But yeah, there are no membership fees to be a part of WCRA. It is really,
it's so easy, because I'm not a tech wizard at all. I'm not saying that. But it's just like subscribing for your email. You just put your email in, you create a password, then you just have the account, and everything that you're going to need to know is just right there, in that app, and that virtual nominating thing. And so it's very self-explanatory. Once you get in there, just hit the button and look it up, and it's there.
Right. And so have you nominated yet for the women's segment?
I have been nominating. I nominated the whole, while the first segment, the segment that just got over, I was nominating both of those through the whole thing.
Awesome. So hopefully we'll be seeing you on the leaderboard side and the open side.
Yes.
So Sawyer, lastly, maybe what are some things you wish you would have known about, whether it be nominating or competing in WCRA events, that when you first started, you didn't know, but now you do?
I think a big part that I didn't know is like where exactly the points went, like where you get it now after you get to one of them, but or like how many of the points, like each rodeo, if it what's the difference between the Division 1 through Division 4 and how many points do they get, and then knowing where they go, and then knowing where, because it is a little bit, you don't know exactly when you're nominating or whatever, when they have the segments on that app, when you're selecting them, it's just a little bit of been there, done that. I think a little. Like once you're in it, it's just like, how could I have not known that? But especially like the first time I nominated, it's just like, where are we going to go after this? Like, when is it at? What time do we need to be there? But it's definitely, now that I've done it a couple times, you're not going to get as many points from Division 4, but you're going to get a lot more for Division 1. And I think a big part of that is just a little bit of just been there, done that. And keep roping and keep rodeoing, and then it explains itself as you go on.
For sure. And so let's go ahead and show the screen here for anybody that is new. So first of all, to your point of like, okay, how do I find out what a division is for an event and how much it costs to nominate? So the first quick summary, if you go to wcrarodeo.com, if you click under how it works and go to nomination fees, if you scroll down here, there's this cool little graph, and I'll make it a little bit bigger, that shows, so for an event, the total payout is really what determines the division of an event, right? And the divisions are 1 through 4. Right now, we don't have a youth, and it costs anywhere from $50 to $200 to nominate per event. And there are some intricacies to if it like a single discipline event, we multiply the payout by 9 to elevate it to a rodeo level. If you ever have questions, you can contact our team. But sometimes the easiest thing to do is if you just go to app.wcrarodeo.com and you log in. So you can either register or sign in. I'm going to sign in. And it'll take you right to the Nominate tab, which then you can look up all events coming up. So like I'm actually next week going to the Northern Breakaway and Northern Breakaway Roping Championships. There's Open to the World and the Challenger Roping. These are also Nominate When You're Ins. And so right here, though, it shows it's an alliance event and it's a Division 2. And you can, in the search tool, you can look up like Rapid City for this. If you don't know the name of the event, there's all different. If you just know like the first name, like Northern, it'll pop up. So lots of different ways to use the search engine, but it'll also show you that division and whether the event is an alliance or not. So yeah, just the click of a button, right, Sawyer?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I guess lastly, just tell us about overall what you got out of competing at Stampede at the E, and just what you took out of that event.
Just walking away from it all, it was definitely, it's the whole feel that you always get when you're at the WCRA, and like especially standing in the Lazy E at the WCRA. It's a career-changing rodeo. There's from the people watching at home who has no idea who you are, rope just 2 calves in front of them, and they almost like they know you for the rest of your life. They follow you around. Just like walking out of there, you like look at your Instagram and see all the new people that followed you because they had no idea who you were. Like stuff like that. It's definitely, it's like especially one of those vibes that you just get like, this is a career-changing rodeo. This is going to change my life forever. Win, lose, or draw, it's going to, and especially when you're guaranteed, everybody that walked into the Lazy E that night took something out of it. the ones that made it to the finals were guaranteed money. The ones that just made it into the top 10 were guaranteed money. So it was a great rodeo that it's this big, it's this cool, and you're going to get paid for it.
Absolutely. And just a little plug here, but for any family members or friends that didn't get to watch it, our event will be on CBS Network Saturday, October 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that too, right? To be on CBS Network competing is just so cool. And we at WCRA Sawyer are so proud of you and just appreciate you being a part of our event.
All right. Thank you very much.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to bring Chelsey back in. And Sawyer, don't leave us yet though, Sawyer.
Okay.
Hang with us, okay? All right. Chelsey Abernathy, you just won $12,500 at the Stampede at the E this past week. For those of you that are asking the question, who is this Chelsey Abernathy? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So hi, I'm Chelsey. I'm from Athens, Alabama. I don't know. I don't really know what all y'all want to know. I'm known for my smile, I guess now. But I don't know. I started rodeoing when I rodeoed when I was little. I rodeoed my 8th grade year and like 2 rodeos my freshman year. But I actually quit to play softball. And then my junior year of college, I decided that I wanted to move home and rodeo. So for about 3.5 years, I've focused on roping. My boyfriend, he's actually taught me pretty much everything and helped me. And so, yeah, I've just really been focusing on that for the past 3.5 years.
Give him a shout out. What's his name?
Andrew Burks. He's a tie-down roper.
Go, Andrew. Oh, and so, Chelsey, tell us about your horse.
So, yeah, my horse's name is Lil Kim. I bought her from my sister-in-law. She actually made the American on her the first year that they had it. I bought it from her and my brother. My brother actually bought a bulldogging horse when he was younger, and it turned out to be pregnant. So a few months later, along came Kim. So she's kind of been in my family the whole time. They let me ride her to roping in November, and after I roped my first one, I turned around and looked at Paige, and I was like, she's going home with me. And it took about 3 months, but she finally came home with me.
Oh, and she's well worth her weight in gold now, huh?
Oh yeah, she ain't ever going anywhere. She's with me now.
So let's take a minute, and for those that missed your winning run, let's go ahead and show everybody your run.
Now, she must have the fast time in the showdown round. This is what it takes. This is the level. Yes. Yes. Is she clean at the box? The answer is yes. Chelsey Abernathy, 2.09 seconds, Oklahoma. If you know her, if you don't know her, if you don't even know how to spell her last name, it doesn't matter because she is $12,500 richer. How about it? Your next champion of the Stampede of the E. And look at this. 2 swings, and she's zeroed in, Creed. Yeah, look at
That's awesome. Wow. So Chelsey, first of all, let's talk about that run. How did it feel?
It felt so good, man. Andrew was actually in the corner with me, and he just kept saying, he's like, see your start. So, I mean, I don't know. I was just really focused on not breaking out. And when I turned back and saw that everything was good, it felt awesome. I never experienced anything like that before.
Let's talk about that. Like, what other events have you been competing at?
So I go to like a bunch of amateurs like around the house, and I've gone to like some ropings and stuff like that. And I mean, they'll add a good bit, but nothing, that even compares to that level. Really, I entered the open out there, and I actually entered late. And so I called my brother, and I was like, you think I should do it? Like, that's a lot of money. Cause I just, I really didn't have the most confidence in the world, to be completely honest. And he was like, I don't know. So I called, and I was like, am I going to be first out? And they were like, yep. And I was like, it's going to be this much. And they were like, yep. And I was like, all right, just put me in. I don't know. It was just, it was definitely a good learning experience. And I don't know. It was just a boost of confidence, I guess, to let me know that I could do something like that. It was really cool.
Absolutely. And so talk about a little bit about like the format and what you liked about, being able to progress through the qualifying round into the progressive and then into the main event. What do you think about that format?
I think it's really cool. I like how it all progresses and it's all in like one day, because like once you get on a roll, it's just fun to just keep roping. And when you're roping against that much competition and all these girls are going for it, it really pushes you, and it really is. It's a cool opportunity. I mean, you get to run a bunch of calves, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's definitely it's just so much competition right there. You just love it.
So those that are unfamiliar with the format, once the top 3 are confirmed in that championship round, in order of first through third, you get to draft your calves. And so I guess talk about like what made you choose your calf, and what do you think about, getting to draft like that?
It was really cool. So they already had the 3 calves picked out before. So I kind of watched them in the first set, and I don't know, they really were all great calves, but I just saw mine. I really liked him. I just thought he was perfect. But it was really cool getting to pick your own calf. I wish you could do that more often. I really liked that they gave us that option because I've never seen that before.
Absolutely. And then, so prior to the Stampede at the E, did you have the Women's Rodeo World Championship on your goal list to attend?
No, and I'm kicking myself in the teeth for not nominating the Stampede at the E because I'm just really dumb. But now it's definitely like I for sure want to do it. I really want to just go to every single one of these events now. It kind of just gave me the hunger to keep wanting to go, and it really is. I mean, it's a great event. Everything they did was ran perfectly.
Awesome. So yeah, let's talk about, with getting to be on the leaderboard side and enter the open side, and now having gone through Stampede at the E with kind of a similar format. Tell us a little bit maybe what your strategy is going into the Women's Rodeo World Championship.
I'm just going to try to nominate and get on that leaderboard. I for sure want to be in that top 64. I'm going to go through the open side too, and I just hope to make it back on both sides. Just stay focused and just take it one run at a time.
Yeah, and maybe this is a great opportunity too to talk about the benefits of competing in the leaderboard side. So everybody on the leaderboard 1 through 64 will not pay an entry fee. It's complimentary going into the event. And then for the Nominate Win Your Ins qualifiers, their fees will be covered, as well as there's one stall for the event. And then those that are number 1 through 4 on the leaderboard, they'll go directly into the main event. Their fees are covered, their stalls are covered, and they get a complimentary 3-night stay at the hotel at South Point. So, definitely benefit to be on the leaderboard. And then if you're already there, entering that open side, right? We're in that midterm entry of paying the $625 versus the $750. The $750 will go up as of August 31st. So I guess I just am preaching to all of you, don't wait, right? Get that.
I waited a long time and I had to pay $750, so don't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So now that we've talked about like the format and the open versus the leaderboard, I guess tell me this, Stampede at the E was the biggest. Now going into the women's, you have the shot at 60,000 versus 12.5. Like, does your game plan change at all, or is it just go out and be as fast as you can every time?
I just want to go out there and just do what I can do on each cab that I draw. I really try not to think about like the money. I just want to focus on like getting my job done and then hoping that everything just works out like in my favor. That's what, when we were on the way home, they were like, "Are you even excited about the money?" And I was like, "Man, I'm just excited that I won." Like, yeah, the money is great, but it was just a great feeling to know like that I roped him and I did my job. That's just my main focus whenever I go out there.
Absolutely. And practicing at home, right? As much as you can.
Yeah.
That's great. So say I asked Sawyer the same question, but I want to ask you too, from starting with WCRA to where you are now, like what are some things you wish you would have known?
I just wish I would have known about it sooner, honestly. Like I actually only nominated like 1 rope-in like 2 weeks before the cutoff date. So I just wish I would have known more about it and just known how easy it really is. Like you can literally nominate like pretty much anywhere that you're going and get points. And it's a great opportunity. I mean, you just pay a thing and you go rope and it just automatically just like works. So I just wish I would have known more about it and how easy it truly was. And I just wish I would have known way sooner. I'd definitely take advantage of it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then let's talk about the field, right? The challenger versus the pros. And do you have any idea, you think, where you are now in those earnings?
I would say before that I would definitely be a challenger but now I don't really know how they'll play that out for me just with like winning there.
Yeah, it's likely you'll be a pro now.
Yes.
But I guess how does that help your confidence level too, kind of going into the competition, knowing who you'll be competing against?
It definitely helps it a lot. Like I really enjoyed roping up against those girls. They really do. It's a different feeling. And that's what, before we went out there, Andrew told me, he's like, something's going to come out of you that you didn't even know you had when you rope against that kind of competition. And it really is true. You just want to give it your all and just stay focused. And I'm excited. I'd like to rope against those girls again. It's pretty fun to rope with them.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that, like the camaraderie, were like even the draft, which I helped witness. Like you guys were kind of talking about the calves going back and forth. I mean, what was it like competing against the best of the best? And was everybody helpful? And I guess what'd you get out of that experience?
Yeah, even at like the progressive runs and stuff. Like, I mean, you have like Larry D there. You can sit there and ask her, like, she already knows the calves, and she like offered me like opinions on them. Like, they're all just super nice, and they're there to help you. You know, they want to see you succeed just like you want to see them succeed. Like, I just feel like everybody's there for each other, because anybody can mess up on any given point. And if you mess up, you want the next person to do good. You don't want everybody else to do bad just because you did. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool to rope against them. They're all super nice, and they want to help you in any way they can.
Yeah, yeah. I know. That's what I just love about rodeo in general too, right? Is the people that you're around are just the nicest. And when you're in the pen, you're competing against each other, but when you're out of it, you're supporting and helping. And yeah, it's nice to be around that. One other thing I wanted to talk about too is, had you ever entered an event through like an entry tool like you did for this event?
No, that was the first time.
And talk to me about that experience.
It was super easy. Like, I mean, everything, like once you figured it, it's all pretty user friendly. I really liked it.
I'm going to pull up just so everybody can kind of see what we're talking about. So if you go to entrytool.com, this is the tool that WCRA and Women's Rodeo World Championship, we are starting to use for entries. So all athletes that competed at our event signed in here, and it's actually the same login as your what you use to nominate rodeos. So let's see if I can remember my password. And so once you're logged in, and we producers are starting to use this tool too, like for Northern Breakaway roping and Northern Team Roping Championships. See, like right here, we're taking their entries. And Sawyer, I'm going to bring you back in here now, because you were a part of this as well, of, you know, entering the events through this tool. And so the whole list of everything, right, was on here. Women's Rodeo World Championship, open to the world. You can enter this through our tool. You just click right in here and fill out your information, and just do the step-by-step, right? And so I guess, Sawyer, what was your take on entering through this online tool?
It was definitely, you know, it was a very easy way to like know I'm in this. This is when I'm going to have, this is when I need to be there, you know? And so it was super easy, instead of like trying to find, you know, like for like the WPRA and the WCRA where they have entry dates, you know, like at a certain time, and then you call the number and you're on hold for 30 minutes. You just like, today it's just like, oh, I need to enter that, and you're done in like 30 seconds. It's definitely way easier than trying to remember like a card number and the date that you need to enter and the time you need to enter, and then it's super easy.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else to add to that, Chelsey?
No, I agree completely with what she said.
Well, it looks like we just got asked a question. Elisa is wondering, can you tell us again what it means to nominate a rodeo? So I'll take that really quick, and I'll hide that so we can see Sawyer's face. But Elisa, to nominate a rodeo, what it means is, if you go, and I'll just use this again, if you go to app.wcrarodeo.com, Pretty much any rodeo, anytime, anywhere, so long as we can find the verifiable results online, will be on this list of events. But let's just say you were to search, I'm from Rock Springs. I don't think, there's any events going on right now in Rock Springs. So say I were to search an event and I know there's a jackpot happening this weekend. It pays out $5,000 and I want to enter it. I want to nominate it. When you nominate, you can add the event, put the information in. So we'll just say Rock Springs jackpot. The city is Rock Springs, Wyoming. And it happens this Friday. I guess that's the 28th. Or no, it is the 21st. So put that information in, add the rodeo. I'm going to be in the breakaway roping. And then it's on the 21st. So this is where you pick a segment. So right now, the Women's Rodeo World Championship, we call it the W20 segment. You can select it to earn points. Our cutoff to earn points is October 11th to go to the November 3rd through 7th Women's Rodeo World Championship in Las Vegas. So I select that. And then this is where it gives me my summary. When you add an event in our system that wasn't in it, it defaults to charge you $150 for a Division II event. Just know, like, if I know the jackpot I'm going to is a $5,000 event, it's for sure a Division IV and should be a $50 nomination fee. Once our team verifies that, we automatically refund you the difference. So that's just something good to know about app adding. But once I complete that, then when I go to the jackpot this Friday and I say I win it, and it was a one money event, it's a Division IV, I'm going to get 6 points for winning that event, which will go towards being on the leaderboard for the women's segment. So to see the leaderboard, there's a couple different ways. Inside the app here, you can go up to leaders, and then it defaults to the women's segment in the breakaway roping. I'm just going to refresh this. And so right now for the women's segment, Kelsie Chace is first with 872 points. We're taking the top 64 from the leaderboard into the event. So Debbie Fabrizio has 23.25 points right now as 64th to get into the event. So keep nominating, keep earning points, keep trying to be in that top 64 as of October 11th. And that's what it means to nominate, Elisa. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to our team at support@wcrarodeo.com. And that being said, I think now's a good time to talk about the upcoming Nominate When You're in events. And so I'll just pull this up really quick. So as a reminder, a Nominate When You're in event is where if you are competing at any of these events and you nominate it and you become the overall winner, you'll get a qualification spot right into the fast track pool, which is like a bonus round to advance into the main event at the Women's Rodeo World Championship. So in the barrel racing, we have the Barrel of Gold Open event and the Barrel of Gold Gunslinger event, which is happening in Montana, August 31st. The Open event is a Division II. The Gunslinger is a Division I, which means it's $200 to nominate. And if you're the overall winner of either of those barrel races, you'll go directly into that fast track pool. For the breakaway roping, we have the Northern Breakaway Championships happening in Rapid City, South Dakota, August 28th. The Challenger division is the Challenger roping is a Division III, and the Open is a Division II. And we reopened entries for this event at entrytool.com. They close tomorrow at 5 p.m. So you can go enter, and the nominations are already baked into those entries. And then in the team roping, we're also taking the entries for Northern Team Roping Championship, the Challenger and the Open division. And that's also happening August 28th in Rapid City, South Dakota as well. So if you guys have any questions about those events, reach out to our team. But another great way to go out, win and nominate when you're in qualification and advance to the Women's Rodeo World Championship. So a lot of information, Chelsey and Sawyer. I really appreciate you girls taking the time to talk to us today. Do you have any last minute questions or thoughts on the Women's Rodeo World Championship? Chelsey, I'll start with you.
I don't. I'm just ready to nominate and get into it since I messed up and didn't nominate at the Stampede at the E.
Well, we'll try to remind you too. We've got a lot of great field reps and sales guys out in the field that try to help remind you guys to nominate. So we'll be sure to get after you next time.
Yeah.
And Sawyer, how about you?
That's cool. You know, like especially the window you're in, especially for somebody who doesn't like rodeo that much or doesn't exactly know how the nomination fees work. And when you enter that and then you do win it, you're just in. You know, that was a little bit of what happened like to me, like in the Row for the Crown. You know, like you had no idea what it was going to, where you're going to have to be next or whatever, but you want it. You have enough points to go and do it. That's cool. That you don't have to, you know, that much money with very little cost to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had so much fun watching you both this past week. Again, we are just so proud of you and thankful that you were a part of our event. Jennifer Casey did just ask a couple questions on for the Breakaway and Rapid, how much of the entry fee goes into the pot. Jennifer, the best thing to do is go to Northern Breakaway Roping Championships Facebook page, and they have the flyer of all of that information. So if you want to go check them out, and if you have any questions, you can either reach out to their team or we can try to help you through it too. So, all right. Well, we're a little early, about 14 minutes early, but I think we've pretty much hit on all the important stuff. And again, just one last reminder, the Women's Rodeo World Championship will be November 3rd through the 7th in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the South Point Arena. And you can either get in by entering the open. Entries right now are $625. They're the midterm entries and will end on August 31st. And then you can also nominate and get points to be on our leaderboard up until October 11th at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to our team. You can call us at 833-368-3787, or you can email us at support@wcrarodeo.com. And I just want to give one more cheers to you both. I think it'd be appropriate to end this live by showing Chelsea's winning run one more time. So bear with us. And here we go.
Now, she must have the fast time in the showdown round. This is what it takes. This is the level. Yes. Yes. Is she clean at the box? The answer is yes. Chelsey Abernathy, 2.09.
That smile sure is undeniable. So, and Sawyer, thank you. Chelsey, Sawyer, thank you for joining us today. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you guys next week, same time.